All right, good morning, guys. Good afternoon. If it's afternoon, let me turn this heater off so y'all can actually hear me. But whatever time of day it is for you, I hope your day's been going good. Today's video is gonna be another long one. So if y'all wanna go get a snack or some coffee, this is gonna be probably a pretty big process for me. So we're gonna do a lot of stuff in this week's video. I got a big job that I wanna take care of. As you can see, I got a bunch of parts laid out on the bench here, and I'm gonna go over them with you really quick and tell you what I'm switching out on my kayak, but I'm kind of doing almost like an overhaul of the whole front end of my kayak and a few parts on the back end of the kayak that we're gonna switch out. But I'm gonna try to make some changes to fix some issues that I'm having with all of this flopping around. Like, I've got stuff that just kind of bounces around. My trolling motor kind of bounces around on the front, and I've got a bunch of stuff to fix that. And as you can see, all of the stuff on the table here all have the same logo, and that is Ketch. And a lot of you guys know who Ketch is. Matter of fact, I got a couple of their boards right here. If you're watching this video, you're a kayak fisherman, and you've probably fished tournaments, or you're thinking about fishing tournaments, and odds are you've already got one of the Ketch boards at home, because this is the standard when you're fishing tournaments, you know, to be able to legally register your fish, you know, for uploaded pictures and stuff like that to get your right measurements in. You got to have a Ketch board in these tournaments. If you're fishing a local tournament, if you're fishing one of Chad's KBF tournaments, this is the board that you got to have. And I've actually got a couple of them. Ketch has been making these boards for a long time, and they are nice. I got my plastic one here, and I got my aluminum board right here. Absolutely love them. But a lot of y'all that already knew about the Ketch boards probably didn't know that Ketch also makes a ton of other stuff. And when you got a company like Ketch, which is right here in the United States, they are 100%, these guys are like Americans. They love their military, they love their veterans, and they put out a lot of products, and they make sure that, you know, everything stays kind of in America when they're doing it. So it's a huge plus for me. But they're not really a stamp and print kind of company. Ketch is, I found this out, you know, over the past 6 or 7 months when I've been doing the research, but Ketch is a machine shop. So, and if you don't know, I've worked at a machine shop I work at an aerospace company, and I've been working there since 2005. And what we do is aircraft repairs. So we chrome plate parts, and then we have a machine shop that we finish them. We have a jig grind shop, and that's kind of what Ketch is. You know, minus the chrome plating stuff, they are a machine shop. They've got CNC machines, jig grinding machines, and they've got real machinists there that know how to operate this stuff to dial in the stuff and get it just right. So whenever they kind of took over the Ketch board process and started making these precision Ketch boards, and you know, in order to be legal, these lines have to be exactly accurate in order to, you know, because some of these tournaments, people are fishing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you don't want a board reading something that, you know, says your fish is smaller than it actually is. So these are precision cut, and that's why a company like Ketch makes those boards, because they're a machine shop company. Well, whenever they started venturing into this other kayak accessory part, you know, of the market, you get high quality stuff. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a ton of stuff on the market. Yes, you can go to Walmart, you can go to your sporting goods store, and you can buy plastic attachments for your boat. And a lot of times there's nothing wrong with that. Like these Yakattack quick release mounts that you use and all these track systems, these are freaking great. They work really good. But there's an issue whenever you put plastic on these kayaks. If you're trying to film, or if you're setting up a graph and you've got a plastic piece hooked to another plastic piece hooked to another plastic piece, what you get is a little bit of movement on each piece, which compounds up into big movement. Have you guys ever tried to film off the back of your kayak, and you set your pole up, but you're attached with a plastic piece to a plastic piece, and it seems like every time you barely move your kayak, that camera just moves all over the place. It's really hard to film. And it's because of your anchor points and everything kind of compounding out to be a lot of movement. So I know I'm saying a lot right now, but I'm wanting to explain it so that you guys know why I'm swapping these parts out. And then we're gonna get into each part that I'm fixing to swap out, and we're just gonna strip the whole front end of my kayak down in a minute. But anyway, so like take for example, my front graph setup. If you look at my graph system, it looks really good, and I like having the graphs mounted where they're mounted. It gives me a big open space here to land fish, to use a net, get in and out of the kayak. I love this setup. But using this H-bar, this is like the 21-inch Hobie H-bar. I got it off Amazon, and I was able to mount 2 graphs on here. I've got my camera mount on here, but look, just by touching it, look how much movement. Can y'all see that? Let me move y'all over here just a little bit. Hey, camera, grab me. Come over here. There we go. Stop right there. That's my pet camera, if y'all didn't know that. But see, look at this movement right here. I can barely bump this with my finger, and what it is my plate here on the Hobie is made out of plastic, and it's got a little bit of give. Then the H-rail, the mounting point, is made out of plastic. It's got a little bit of give. And then you got your adapter. It's plastic. It's got some give. All of this little bit of give just keeps compounding up until you get to right here. And then every time I move around in my kayak, my screens are doing this. And it gets to a point where it's really annoying. And I also run a front camera. Is my stick in here? Yeah. So a lot of y'all see the front shots. You know, if I upload a front shot for me sitting in my kayak, this is what I use. I love to use these quick attach Yakattack hookups right here. I got my Yakattack arm, and it works great. I aim my GoPro at me right there, but all of this is now compounding all the way up to here. So when I'm taking this shot, I have to make sure, look at that movement right there. And that little bit of movement, look at my screens. It moves everything, and that becomes a problem when you're trying to film, when you're trying to look at your screen. I gotta remember how to take that off. And it just kinda, you know, the plastic on plastic. So we're gonna address that today. We're gonna fix that with a new Ketch product, and we're gonna fix this front motor mount because, let me bring y'all back over here. Come on, pet camera. All right, stop right there. See this little bit of movement here? Let me see it. I don't know if y'all be able to see that from there, but there's flex. And the reason there's flex is because all of my mounting points up here are plastic. Now, yes, it's thick plastic, and it's not, I mean, this has been working just fine. I'm gonna say that. But I didn't realize how much power I'm actually losing from this setup just by having all of these extra movements, because what happens is I turn on my trolling motor, right? If I hit it on high and I wanna spin around really quick, or if I wanna kinda, you know, get some speed up and go up a bank and fish it, these little bit of compounding movements all the way up to this motor, when that thrust kicks in, it absorbs a lot of that power, and you lose a lot of that push off. And you'd be surprised how inefficient bad mounting on a kayak, on a motor, you know, on your kayak will actually make you lose power that easy. And it's kind of crazy. So we're gonna fix all of that today by mounting Ketch's stuff up. Now, let me bring y'all back over here. Come on, camera, pick me up. There we go. It wanted my right hand that time. Let me get y'all back over here to the table. All right, so, sorry, I just talked a whole lot. I hope y'all are still with me here on what I'm trying to accomplish today. So I'm gonna show you now what we're gonna be replacing it with. So Ketch now has a full line of products, and 99% of these products are all made out of 6061 aluminum. Some people call this aircraft quality aluminum, but it's actually, aircraft quality is a little bit more unrigid. So the 6061 aluminum is actually a little bit stiffer. So you're gonna have less of that flex and that give than you would with straight up, you know, thin aircraft aluminum. This is 6061 fully machined aluminum, and they've got a ton of products. This one here is called their Exact Track. And what this mainly is the same track system that you're used to using all these Yakattack products on. It works the same exact way. It's just T-tracks, basically. But their T-tracks are made out of, like I said, 6061 aluminum, and they're anodized in different colors. Now, as you can see, I've got different lengths. I've got this big boy here. This is anodized red. And I hope the camera's picking up how well, like, they send this off to a company that professionally anodizes it, and it is amazing. And like I said, I've worked in a chrome plating shop for years, over 15 years now, and we do a lot of plating and etching and stuff like that, and this is top tier quality right here. I mean, that anodization right there, the reds, the blues, look at the golds. And what they're doing is they're offering this in different colors so you can kind of match your kayak or whatever you're putting this on. A lot of this stuff you see here, these Yakattack Tracks, these aren't going on my kayak because I'm gonna be using these on the kayak trailer, on my Diamondback in the back of my truck when we go camping. My golf cart's gonna get some of these because you can use these T-Tracks anywhere you want. These are not just made for kayaks, but they do sell kayak specific stuff, and of course you can mount these to your kayaks. A lot of these new kayaks now, they come with these specific sizes where you can just swap out your plastic cheap one and get one of these Ketch ones and actually mount it right there. You're gonna get a lot more stability. This is gonna outlast whatever kayak you put it on, I promise you that. It's non-corrosive, it's anodized, and it's gonna last forever. So anyway, this is their Yakattack Track lineup they've got now. They've got the little shorter ones, they got the little singles right here where you can just kind of, if you want to put a camera mount somewhere, you just mount that on there and you can have a camera mount somewhere. One of the things that I'm excited for is this crossbar. This is their, I believe this is called the Ketch crossbar, and it is what is gonna replace, my camera just shut off. This is what is gonna replace this crossbar right here, my H-Rail crossbar. And it's gonna go straight across here, and I'm gonna be able to delete a lot of these plastic connections, these plastic hookups that I'm using right here, and I'm gonna remove a lot of this sway, and I'm gonna pair this with their Hobie specific parts. Now, like I said, they do carry a ton of, I guess, widespread parts like these Yakattack Tracks you can put on any kayak, but they also have a big lineup of kayak specific. So these are called Jake plates, and these are gonna go on my kayak. They're designed for Hobies. So this is a PA lineup of a part, and it's made out of the same 6061 high grade aluminum, and it's machined down to mount, oh, that's the wrong one. Let me get this one out so y'all can see this one. Where's my knife at? Right here. Oh yeah, I did get a new knife. Y'all check this out. So I showed y'all my sheepdog. Can y'all see that? In a couple of videos back. I can't remember which video, but I told y'all how much I like this knife from Kaiser. Well, they reached out. They was like, if you like that sheepdog, we make a mini sheepdog. And I have fell in love with this thing. Can y'all see that? You probably can't see it from there. I have to show you in a minute. But man, this thing is nice. It's a lot smaller, so I can carry it, and it is sharp. Woo, it's sharp. I cut myself the first day I opened it at work in front of people, showing somebody the knife. Opened it up, showed them, went to shut it, cut my finger. But anyway, so let me shut it before I cut myself on camera. So here is the Jake plate. And what's really cool about it is it's called the Jake plate because they named it after the guy that works at Ketch that has a Hobie Pro Angler that decided to make one of these to fix his problem. So they just started making them, you know, mass producing them, and they named it after him. So this is called the Jake plate. And this is gonna replace this plate. Let me bring y'all back over here. Is the camera gonna wanna pick me up with my left hand or right hand? There we go. Y'all come back over here, stop. So this is my Hobie Jake plate, my plastic one, and there's a lot of flex in it. We're gonna swap it out with this aluminum plate, and then we're gonna have aluminum attaching to aluminum. And the way it works is, and you don't have to have these Jake plates if you wanna run this. You can attach this to that plastic plate, excuse me, but they work a lot better, and you'll really get rid of that flex if you go ahead and get that Jake plate set up like I've got, because the way they mount. And I do want to say the reason that their stuff works so well is something that I really didn't think about, and I'm really going to hit on it when we get to mounting the motor, is they're a machine shop, so they are a precise company. I'm talking down to the tenth of a thousand, you know, of a 1,000th of an inch or a tenth of a thousand. They can machine this stuff to perfection. So they were able to design a way to mount this crossbar across the front of the Hobie, right? Now, don't forget, you've got a ton of different angles going on here. You've got this plate that is gonna be slightly tilted this way, and it's gonna be slightly tilted this way. And then you've gotta be able to come up off of all of those angles and go straight across to have your graphs mounted on a flat plane to be able to use them and mount your stuff flat. So they had to figure out how to mount something to that angled plate to get a flat space on the top. I hope I'm making sense there. So what they were able to come up with was this little gadget right here. And I had to watch their video. By the way, Ketch does have a YouTube channel with videos specifically on how to mount all of these products today. I'll have them linked below in the video description. So if I don't cover something in full detail today, because I'm just trying to get all this work done, kind of share with you guys the process of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, you can, go to their YouTube channel and see each one. Duke is the main one filming all of this stuff. Really cool guy. He's the guy up at Ketch I've been talking to a lot. But anyway, here is their mount, and the way it works, I'm going to show you off the kayak before we get it on the kayak, is they've got these holes cut out, and as you can see, well, I just dropped that down. But let me see if you can see that. So you see this is at an angle. This is gonna sit on there, and they'll rotate to whatever is the perfect angle. So this is gonna be on the kayak, and then you're gonna rotate the top one. You got your spacer in the bottom one here. I hope I'm not backwards. I think I'm upside down, actually. Anyway, it gets to a point where it locks itself down to where it's perfectly level, and it gets rid of all of this gappage that you got when you're trying to mount a straight piece to an angled piece. You get rid of all that, and that is a big addition. That's what causes a lot of this play when you're mounting this stuff up, because nothing is completely flat on these kayaks. Everything's got a weird angle. It's got a weird, line going down the side. It's maybe not a straight line. It's curving as it goes down the kayak. So they were able to figure it out and machine these little parts to make them perfect for your kayak. And I've got the setup for mine. So we're gonna mount the graphs on this new bar today, right across here. And then we're gonna move on to the front. Let me set this to the side, because I wanna show you everything really quick. And then we're just gonna, like I usually do, we're just gonna get to work on the kayak. But you get, with the Jake plates, that's what I just opened here, yep. The Jake plates, you get your mounting hardware. It's all stainless steel hardware, bolts, everything's packaged really good. Get you a Ketch sticker. All right, let me set the Jake plate stuff to the side. Crossbar, that's good there. Excuse me. All right, a problem that I was having, let me bring y'all back over here. There we go, come on. Come up a little bit, right there, stop. All right. Yeah, some of y'all are watching this, and y'all may be new to my channel and you don't know this little gimbal that I use. You're like, what is he doing? Why is he making all these hand gestures at the camera? I'm moving the gimbal around. It's got like this AI tracking thing, and I can actually kind of move it around. Anyway, so an issue that I was having that I kind of went over with y'all a couple weeks ago in a video was when I'm running the river with my Newport motor on the back and I'm just hitting waves and taking on water over the bow. The way these Hobies are designed is they've got this little trough here beside the hatch. The water comes over the bow, it hits this trough, and it goes down, and it's designed to go out through your Mirage Drive hole in the floor. What happens is I've got these horizontal rod tube holes, 3 on each side on the front of the Hobie. If you've got a Hobie, you know what I'm talking about. What happens is the water comes over the bow, it hits this little trough, it goes down to my floor, and it makes its way into the rod tubes, which I don't use. The rod tubes are these long tubes, there's 3 on each side that come inside of the kayak, and they're not sealed very well. And the water gets into the rod tubes, the water sits in there, leaks out of the rod tubes, and makes its way into the hull, and I end up with water inside of my kayak. That's not what you want, especially fishing 8 hours running up and down a river. You can get a good bit of water inside your Hobie by doing that. And it's all because of those horizontal rod tubes that are, mounted to your kayak. I don't use them, and the guys at Ketch don't use them either. So they designed these block-off plates. And I'm so glad I got these, because for a while I didn't know how I was getting this water inside my kayak. I mean, I was crawling up under this thing in my shop, guys, after a fishing trip, checking my Mirage Drive, looking for holes, because I just thought I hit a rock and got a hole somewhere. And then I noticed it one day as I was getting that overspray. These rod tubes are getting water in them. The water's not in the rod tubes anymore when I check them. That means they're leaking out inside the hole. But the guys up at Ketch made these block-off plates, and they made them really good. They got gaskets on them, they've got backing plates, because like I said, they're a machine shop, so They make everything precise, and I freaking love that. I mean, these guys have a full jig grind shop. They've got a full crew of guys that run jig grinders all day long and CNC machines to machine these parts to be precise whenever you put them on your kayak. I made my gimbal start tracking me again. But this is called their block-off plate. I believe that's what it's called. And it comes with a heavy-duty gasket. This is a full gasket that goes all the way around your plate. Let me make sure I don't cut myself with this knife really quick. I'm gonna end up cutting myself in this video, I just know it. And then here is the block-off plate. So what you get is you get the block-off plate. It's got a little Ketch logo on both sides. You get this nice rubber gasket that goes on the inside like that. I mean, not on the inside, it goes on the outside, you know, of your kayak. And then on the inside of your kayak, you get these plates. And I think it's thinking me holding this up as a hand gesture. You get these plates that go on the inside of your kayak, that go in, and then you've got some mushroom head Allen bolts with lock nuts on the backside that are gonna go in and finally seal off that hole on the front of your Hobie. And what is really cool about these, if you wanted to, I'm not, because I've already drilled the holes in the front for my Xi3 hookup where I plug my motor up. I've got the holes and I've already got like a gauge cut in there. But if you got a brand new Hobie and you haven't drilled any holes in the front of your kayak yet, and you go this block off route, what's really cool is, since this is aluminum and replaceable, because if you put something here and you don't want it later, you can just buy another one of these and change it out. You can drill holes into this and mount your plug for your bow mount trolling motor or your cell phone charger, your camera charger. You can just drill right into this to keep from drilling into your boat. And then if you change your setup down the line, you just hop on Ketch.com or KetchProducts.com and order you a new block-off plate. You can get them in singles. I mean, I think they come in singles. I got 2 bags and there's one in each bag, so I think you can just order one. Like if you just need one of them, you don't have to order a 2-pack, I don't think. So that's pretty cool. We're gonna do that today. I got a pair of these guys that is gonna fix that issue finally. After that, I don't think, if I get any water in the kayak after that, I've definitely got an issue somewhere that I got to address. Before we get to the motor mount, I'll show you a couple new things that I've also got for today. They have steering handles. This is another Hobie specific part, which I think they also have steering handles for other kayaks, maybe. I want to say the Bonafide, but I might be wrong there. If Bonafide, maybe Native, I don't know. I know they've got them for the Hobie because I got one in my hand right now. Got me another Ketch sticker, and they got all kind of different stickers. Each one of these packs has a different kind of design Ketch logo. But this is another 6061 aluminum. This is fully CNC'd machined. I think this one is gunmetal gray. No, this is gunmetal gray. I can't remember what the name of the color of this one is, but it is super cool. And I ordered this because now that I've got that Xi3 on the back, not the Xi3, now that I got the NK300, my Newport motor on the back, that bad boy's got some torque. And my steering knobs let me see if I can show you really quick. My steering knobs that are attached to it are also attached to my rudder system, and they're plastic. See this move I got and this flex I got? Since this is all aluminum, I was able to order a Hobie handle, and this is gonna go on probably my left side here, since I've got my Tim Percy set up on that side. I don't know, I might put it over there if I can, but we'll figure it out. But I got one of these with their steering knob, and I've been wanting one of these steering knobs for a while. And I do believe they sell these steering knobs for other kayaks, not just Hobie specific stuff, but check that bad boy out. And when I mount all this in a little bit, you're gonna get to see all this, but that ball swivels, so it don't spin in your hand. Like you hold it and you can steer just like that, because that ball spins on there. That is really cool. It's machined really well. I like that. I've been waiting to do this for a long time. I've actually got it in there upside down, don't I? Let me flip this over. If not, I'll install it upside down. And they're so good at like the small detail stuff that they're able to machine stuff to fit so exact. I'm talking, if whatever you order is specific like this, like Hobie product for my Hobie, they've made it so it's precisely gonna fit your kayak, and it kind of blows my mind how specific they are. It shouldn't. I work in a, you know, basically at a machine shop, but these guys are really good at what they do. So let me set this to the side right there. And then I've got that. Got one more thing, and then we're gonna move on to the Xi3 motor mount stuff. This thing's still tracking me. Stop tracking me. So this is also another Hobie specific part. This is their H-rail mount, I believe is what they called. And I got a couple of these, and I'm gonna use one of them for my throttle on my NK300. You know, I've got my throttle mounted on my H-rail over there, and the way I've got it mounted now, it's working, but it is plastic on plastic, so I've got my NK300 mounted. You can't see it over there. I'll show you in a minute, but it's mounted to just a Hobie plastic clamp mount that clamps on the front. Same way I got all these mounted, but as you can see, there's a lot of flop in those. So what they sell is aluminum, of course. Just like I said, 99.9% of the stuff they make is aluminum. It's not plastic. But this is an H-rail mount kit, and it's designed for, I believe it's those Scotty mounts, the Scotty rod holder mounts. It's got the, you know, it sits on there. If I had one readily available, I could show you, but I don't think I have one close. Should have had one out, but you know what I'm talking about. You can get the Scotty mounts at Walmart or whatever. These plates have threaded holes in them that are designed to mount that mount straight to it, and then you can just use it on your Hobie H-rail mount, put this anywhere you want, and the way it works is they got the plate, and then they've got two of these, which probably on camera, y'all see that? I'm trying to hold it so you can see it. You'll see it up close in a minute. But it's not fully, you know, smooth. This is not a U, and that's because the H-rail is not a U. Come over here with me. Come over here. Y'all come over here and look at this. Let me show you something. So this goes under your H-rail like this, and since it's got those precise cuts that match the H-rail, you can put this anywhere on the H-rail you want, and then this plate will go on top. You'll have another one here, and since all of this is threaded and recessed, I got that upside down again, like that, then you've got a flat plate that you can mount anywhere you want. You can mount or anything you want, anywhere on the H-rail. If you've got one of these H-rails up here on the front of yours, if you don't end up going with that crossbar, you want to mount this on your H-rail up here, and then you can use this to mount your graphs to. It'll work. I'm going to use it for my throttle, and then I've got two because I had an idea for another one. I'll probably install something cool there in an upcoming video. So one of these are definitely getting installed today. We're going to see if we can make it work with that throttle mount for that Newport Vessel's motor throttle for the motor. What am I trying to say here? All right, now, this is what I've been looking forward to installing for a while, because these guys have kind of figured out how to mount a bow mount trolling motor. Look, I almost grabbed that blade. Let me put that up. You're gonna see me cut myself and cry on camera. All right, so I've got two things to mount my Xi3 back. Stop following me. Right now, I'm running, I can't remember the name of this. I think it's On the Water Innovations. I'll put it on the screen right here if I remember what this is, but I've been running it for a while. It does good. I can't really complain about it, but then you start looking into, you know, how long the battery should last for the Xi3, how much power, how fast I should be able to pull this kayak, and you realize I am losing power somewhere, and you look into it, and it's definitely the mount. The mount is definitely where I was losing that. It's not a lot. I mean, most people will run this for years and you're not gonna know it. It's plastic, so it's not gonna corrode, but you're still gonna have to deal with that plastic on plastic flex. And a big thing that I didn't realize until I seen Ketch's video on this front mounting plate, and I highly recommend if y'all are gonna mount a bow mount trolling motor on your kayak, whether you got a Hobie, a Bonafide, a Native, whatever you're running, look at their bow mount trolling mounts, see if they got one for your kayak. If they do, get it. Because they were able to look at the front of this Hobie and realize that the Hobie motors, when you mount them on the front for this handle, the whole mold in all of these PAs are slightly off center. And what that means is, is this motor, although right now to me, it looks like, let me back it up some. It looks like it is perfectly straight with my kayak. But in reality, I think Ketch was able to find out that this motor, since it's mounted up to this, these two inserts on this handle, and that's how you do these mounts on these Hobies. They have to be blocked in right there and locked onto the kayak. That way you're not gonna lose your motor or it's not gonna fall off the kayak or whatever. But by bolting them up right there and that handle being slightly off, I think they said it was 6 degrees off, your motor is always gonna be slightly 6 degrees facing the opposite way. So if you take that into consideration, if you take that angle off and then all of this plastic on plastic bouncing and flexing in the water, you're losing a lot of power and energy when you're trying to run these trolling motors on the front of your boat. They figured that out at Ketch, being the machinists they are, and made a plate specifically for the Hobie with a little shim that's gonna go behind this plate. So here's our plate, the same 6061 aluminum grade. I want to say aircraft aluminum because that's all I work with is like aircraft parts. But a lot of people do call this aircraft grade aluminum. It's actually a little bit more rigid than aircraft grade, which is better for boat, applications like this. But what you get is you get 2 parts for this mount. You get your main plate, and then you get the plate that you bolt to the front where your handle goes on this Hobie. Let me shut that up again. So you get this guy right here. Can y'all see that? I hope y'all can see this really good. And then you get this guy right here. This is gonna mount on this plate. And they're so precise with this that this actually has an angle to it at the top of this mounting point. So you have to look at it, you have to make sure they got their logo on there so you can't, it's hard to really mess this up because the logo goes out. It's not gonna face the back, up against the kayak. But the top of this right here is machined at a slight angle, and that is because there's also an angle right here on the front of this kayak. This is not gonna sit perfectly 90 degrees, which that's the way I have it mounted now, which also kicks the motor. Let's see if it's perfectly 90. It's either kicking the motor too high or too low. I can't remember which way that is off the top of my head, but it's just enough to make you lose efficiency of whatever motor you're running. Most people run the Xi5 or the Xi3 on the front of these. That's the Xi3, and I'm losing that. So now I'm losing a little bit of power because it's mounted at a slight degree too far down, I believe, 6 degrees too far over, and then I'm plastic on plastic on plastic. And all of that combining, you're definitely losing energy, and efficiency out of your motor. Anyway, this bolts to the front right here. We're gonna take this handle off, this plate that I've got bolted here with this old mount system. It's gonna replace that, and it's gonna mount in here. And then this plate, the motor mounts to, and then this plate mounts something like this. And then the motor is gonna sit on top of it just like that. That's gonna go on there. It comes with the shims to fix that 6 degree tilt or angle that we have. And it comes with all your bolts, your replacement bolts for the handle, because they're the exact length that you need when you're mounting their kit. Not to mention, this is a lot thinner and more rigid than what we're gonna be replacing up there. So we're gonna fix a big problem with the front bow mount trolling motor. And last but not least, that I'm gonna be installing, I told y'all I had a lot of stuff. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but it's gonna be pretty long. So last but not least, this is the only plastic piece that I got from Ketch for this video. This is their quick release, spelt with a K, because their name is Ketch with a K, so they spelt quick release with a K. And this is really cool. I'm gonna be able to show you guys more whenever we pull off the motor guide over there. I might pop it off in just a second and show you anyway. But what this is you got a 2-piece system. You got this piece here, and I'm hoping the glare, I got so many lights over here, it's not funny. You got a dovetail, and then you got your main piece. And I can't remember, I think the dovetail is what mounts on the kayak. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look again in a minute, but like I said, Ketch Outdoors, I believe, is on YouTube. It's linked below. They've got a detailed video on how to install this to mount it to your motor and mount it to your kayak to get them to mate up. I just want to show you guys the products that I'm putting on my boat and why. So this is a really thick plastic. Let me grab a tape measure. 1.25 inch thick plastic, and I sent Duke a text to ask him what kind of plastic. I don't think he was able to get back to me yet. But this is a really thick plastic material, 1.25 inch, maybe just shy of 1.25 inch, and this is how I'm gonna mount my Xi3 to this new plate system. Now, yes, I know this is plastic, and I just went on around about plastic on plastic, but this is not gonna be plastic on plastic. This is gonna mount to the aluminum plate that is already, that is part of my Xi3. Up under this Xi3, there is a big, thick aluminum plate, just as this plate, and that is part of the motor. This piece, I believe, mounts to the bottom of the trolling motor, just like this. And then this piece is gonna mount to my Ketch aluminum plate. And the way they've designed it is it's just not a T shape and a U shape that goes together. This is actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see, can y'all see that the edge of that, where's something white that y'all can see against? That maybe. This is chamfered. So this has got a slight bevel, and a slight bevel. And when you slide the motor up to the, I got it upside down, don't I? When you slide them together, they've got these locking mechanisms on the side where you go up, you pull it down and it locks into place. You go up, you pull this one down, it locks into place, and it locks your motor on. And since those are beveled and it's cut like this design, it locks it in a position where it's not gonna move. I mean, you're already sandwiched in between two pieces of aluminum, and then you're locking in all these bevel cut edges on a CNC machine. This is precision right here, guys. This is really gonna make my motor solid as a rock. Did it stop recording? No, okay, that scared me. My screen got dimmer right there. But anyway, that is what we're gonna be mounting up today. It's a lot of stuff. The first thing I gotta do is start stripping stuff off. And I'm gonna start with the trolling motor, kind of get it out of the way. And then I'm gonna take off all of my Garmin stuff. We're gonna take off the Jake plates, take off the H-rail, get everything off, and then I'm gonna start running my wires back up and hooking all this back up. Did it stop recording? It didn't stop recording, thank goodness, because I don't know if I could have went and said every bit of that all over again, but let's go ahead and get the motor off. I disconnect my little pull cord there that I'm able to activate the release mechanism there. Got my little pull-up rope and my plug. And the way I've got this Xi3 mounted now is with the, I think it's the Motor Guide Quick Detach mount. It's got this pin that you pull, and then you just pick the motor up. What most of you guys are running the same setup, and what it has is got the outline of a square or a rectangle mounted to the bottom of this, and it's got the inside of it mounted to this. They marry together, kind of one on top of the other. It's not like tapered or anything like that. And then you've got this pin that goes in, and you push it in, and this is what holds your motor to your boat. Let me set this thing down because it's starting to get heavy. Let me get it over here out of the way. I'm gonna set it on the old golf cart. That'll work. I didn't know you were following me. All right, now here is the plate that we're gonna be swapping out and putting the Ketch plate on. But you know what, before we get into that, let's go ahead and get the graphs out of the way while we got this extra room up here. Then we can mount everything together at the same time. So what I'll do is I don't need that up and in the way, do I? I can just unmount everything right here. I got my two Garmin's. These are both 93 SVs, if you're wondering. And yes, I have two. The main reason I got two was I plan on running LiveScope one day. When the day comes that I can make myself pay for the new setup, that new transducer come out, I think it's the LV34 LiveScope Panoptics, whatever. I really want that one, not the 32, because apparently the 34 is way better than the 32, and it's priced, you know, it shows it in the price. I even called my buddy Andrew Nordby. Y'all know Fishing with Nordby, buddy of mine, the FLW Pro out in Gunnersville. And I called him last week or texted him last week, and I was fixing to pull the trigger and buy the LiveScope transducer, the LV32, the one that's not as new, it's not the newest one. And I was like, hey man, I can get the 32 for like, I think I found it for like 600 bucks or something. I said, is it really worth it to pay to get the 34? And he said, yes, don't buy the 32, wait and buy the 34. So, and I can't make myself spend that much money right now. I think it's like 1,600 bucks for just that transducer setup for LiveScope, but I am gonna get it. I am gonna get it. Y'all just bear with me. Once I do, we're gonna get some cool LiveScope kayak fishing content off the channel. But for now, let me just get all this crap out of the way here. I've got everything kind of mounted so tightly together right here that it's gonna take a miracle to get all this stuff separated. There we go, that's worked out better actually. I love doing stuff like this. I love, you know me, I love kayak DIY stuff. I love working on kayaks and modifying them and improving them and stuff like that, but it's so stressful knowing that I want to go fishing soon, but I want this to be perfect. I'm really anal about everything has to be exactly right when I'm done. I got to have the wires wrapped right. Everything needs to be where I want it, but I'm so glad to be getting rid of this. Look at that. I mean, that is just insane. I won't make y'all watch me undo all these wires. Let me get all these wires undone really quick and the graphs off, and then we can start mounting the Jake plates first and then work our way to the front. All right, I got all of the wires off and back down to a bare bones Hobie 8-reel. And if you're interested in doing this mod, I think I did a full setup video when I first got this green kayak. It'll be on my channel somewhere. You just go through the archive of my videos. It's not that old. I'll link it probably right here. I can't remember which side of the screen it'll be on, but right in here if you want to watch my full kayak setup video of how I got it. But we're definitely changing it out today, and I think it's for the best, guys. It is for the best. I was just thinking too, as I was stripping all this off, I really hope that I've got Yakattack mounts so that I can mount my plates, because I was just thinking this, if you're interested, this is how I've had my Garmin's attached. So I've got these little Hobie flat mount things, these little brackets, and they're quick detach for the H-rails. And the way I had my Garmin's were like this. Well, now I'm gonna take them off of this Hobie attachment because we're gonna be mounting to a straight track. And I need to make sure that I've got some mounts. I'm sure I've got some. I'm gonna have to dig through. I've got boxes of Yakattack mounts from over the years. I'm sure I got something somewhere, but to get it to mount to that track so I can slide them and put them where I want, I hope I've got them here and I don't have to order anything. Surely not. But now we'll just take this off. I got a drill. What am I doing? Y'all calm down. I'm just taking screws out. I'm not putting screws in the kayak with an impact, which I don't recommend do, but I have done. But this is more of a do as I say do, not as I do situation. Come on. And there is the 8-reel. And I think this thing is 21 inches, or that's how it's listed. But even this H-reel cut like this, you know, it's got that angle that I cut down to try to match that angle. And I was able to get it close, you know, when I first did the mod to install this here, but not quite perfect. I mean, it still had that, you've seen how much play we got, but that is off. I'm gonna set it over there. I'm just gonna move all the hardware over there with it so I know what goes where. Now we'll get these plates off and get the old Jake plates installed. And we can, while these Jake plates are off, we can go ahead and get the rod tube deletes, get those things out of here. There's my wires. And I use zip ties on my wires to kind of hide them up under that Jake plate like that. But I like to use, if you get them, you can find them on Amazon. It's just these little Velcro tie strips. They're like wire ties, but they're Velcro. They work really well. I use them on my Garmin wires and stuff, the ones that go across the bar, but let's get those out of the way there. Now let's just take off these. I'm gonna call these Jake plates too, but these are the plastic ones. And the new Jake plates, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it comes with all brand new hardware. You don't have to reuse what you're taking out. So I'm gonna have all these extra stainless steel Hobie screws and bolts. I need to put these somewhere where I ain't gonna knock them off everywhere. Can y'all see that cart on camera? I know y'all have seen that cart in the background since I've been filming. That old Ketch cart, yes, it's bad to the bone. And no, we're not gonna talk about it in this video. I'm gonna go over it. It's too nice to include, like, it's gonna be its own thing. I'm gonna review that cart really soon. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you can check out that Ketch cart. If you haven't seen it before, that thing is bad to the bone. It's really cool, but I'm gonna do a full video, so y'all stay tuned for that. Got the plastic Jake plates off. Ain't much to these really, just plastic. And I'm gonna do a tip for you guys really quick. So when you take stuff off, and I got my little spider living here, it looks like. When you take stuff off of your kayak, I don't know if you can tell in that shot, but where they threaded, the screws that are threaded to the kayak, not the ones that, you know, are actual bolts, but the screws with a pointy tip that they use when they assemble your kayak, when they thread them, it pulls plastic up. And like right now, this is not smooth at all. This has actually got plastic on each hole where it's pulled up. Get you a razor blade and cut that stuff down. Let me grab my blade real quick. So what I do is, this blade's probably dull as crap, but I just get a flat blade that I can push forward and knock all that crap off. Because if you try to leave it like that and you mount your new plate on it, odds are these aren't gonna go in the same exact spot as they were whenever they screwed down those plastic plates when Hobie built the kayak. And it's gonna cause unlevelness and unevenness on your new stuff that you're mounting. So just cut it off, and I'll even wipe it down really good. There's even plastic sticking up. Look at that right there. All right, let's get the other side off, and then we'll get to the deleting those rod tubes. Plate number 2 is out. I'm gonna get off all these little high points. There we go. Now let's get these rod tubes out of here. I'm hoping these tubes just slide right on out. I really don't want to have to fight them or break them getting them out. They should though. I'm gonna open this hatch up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't have a Hobie and you're watching this video, these, can you see these in here? These long black things, these are the rod tubes. They're thin plastic. A lot of times they crack. Like, I know my yellow Hobie, they were all cracked on it. And if water gets in them, it's just gonna enter the hatch. Like you can see right here, the hatch is wide open. If water gets in these, it's just going straight into my hole, and it's gonna get water in your kayak. But not after today, not my kayak. And I think they come with new hardware for that too. Yeah, they did. They're gonna fight with me. There it goes. Look at there. Yeah, so these are not sealed at all. That will cause a major leak inside your kayak. For you Hobie guys, there's a small gasket they put on the back of these, but look at that. I mean, it's paper thin. That gasket's not doing anything. I mean, they might as well not even put that on there. So now we'll clean up these holes here and then put the Ketch products on. And we're saving a little bit of weight. Not much, because we're putting back on aluminum, but we are gaining tank space here. Can y'all see that in here? Let me show you. Y'all come over here. Come down, stop right there, stop. Look at that, y'all can see that hatch space. So by getting these out of here, let me remove this one. It opened up the whole front hatch pretty good. So when I do get my LiveScope, I'm gonna be able to mount my black box in here. And then we'll be rocking and rolling then. I might as well go ahead and throw them down because they're gonna fall in the middle of me filming anyway if I stand them up. Now I'm gonna take my razor blade and do the same thing. I'm gonna get those high points off where them screws pulled the plastic out. Because when they assemble these boats, they just, you know, they screw everything straight to the screws that go in. Now, there are some brass inserts for bolting the stuff on in certain places, but a lot of them have these spots like that where it's just a Come on. That looks like they wallered that one out a little bit. That's all right, we got a big old gasket that's gonna cover every bit of this. One thing that I like to do or use when I'm working on these kayaks is a little bit of acetone when you're gonna be mounting new stuff up or sticking stuff to it. Get you a little bit of acetone and clean up everything really good. That way you can feel for high points that you might need to knock down. And it just cleans up the surface where you're gonna be bolting these plates up to. You want that gasket to get a really good seal. I need another cabinet. That thing's slap full. I'm just gonna rub some acetone around that edge, you get all that dirt. All right, we got our rod tube deletes. And as you can see, they can flip and don't go over either way. I need to find, there we go. So they're gonna go like that. Looks like all the bolt holes, nope, am I on the wrong one? Oh yeah, so they added holes too. I was confused as crap just then. So the ones you're gonna pull out, there's only 4 screws, 1 in each corner. Ketch has middle screws, so there's 6. So you're gonna have that additional, you know, pull in right there. Plus you're not screwing to the kayak and expecting the plastic of the kayak to pull the plate tight. You got bolts and washers on the back. So you're gonna, I mean, nuts and bolts that's gonna pull everything. You know what I'm trying to say. It's gonna seal up. You're gonna be able to control how tight you tighten this down and not have to worry about pulling threads out of your kayak. If that makes sense. Let me move this over here. So I think the first thing I'm gonna need to do, since we are going back with these mushroom head bolts instead of screws, I'm gonna have to get a drill bit and open up these holes that we're going into because these are too big to go in those old screw holes. So let me get a drill bit that'll do that. So we'll open up these holes so we can slide our hardware in and get everything tightened up. All right, so check this out. I thought that I just run into like my first issue with possibly the Ketch plates, but then I got to doing some measuring just now, and Hobie, these holes that Hobie cuts, they're just kind of random. These are not cut exactly like these are cut. Like, I mean, not like, these are just randomly cut. And it don't even look like it's a precise cut. They just kind of cut a hole big enough to slide those rod tubes in that fit and then just screwed them to the kayak. So that kind of sucks. So now what I'm gonna do, because I want this to be precise and I want it to seal really good, and that's another reason I think Ketch designed these gaskets as wide as they do, because I'm assuming some of these every one of these Hobies, the holes are gonna be different once you get these rod tubes out. So you're gonna have to slide this plate, and that's what, I don't know if y'all see me doing it just now, but when I would line up certain holes up here, the other ones down there would just be slightly off, and it's not because the plate didn't match up, it's because the plates on the Hobies were wallered out, like the way they did it. So there's like a bigger hole here, then a bigger hole here, and those have never been out of this boat. That is the first time that I've pulled these out of this boat since it's been new. So what I'm gonna do, and you can see kind of on camera, I hope y'all can see that, how weird shape this hole is. That is just like, that's not part of the mold. They actually cut that out after this kayak's been molded. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is I got me a pointy tip Sharpie. I'm gonna make sure that most of the holes are lined up and I get a good area where I know that gasket's gonna seal. And I'm gonna make me some new spots here. Right. I want it flat, flush. Right there. So I'm gonna go there, there, and there. Now I'll drill my holes out. Where'd my lid go? You're gonna go ahead and start a couple of corners here on the gasket. Get everything started, that way I can kind of just slide it into the kayak. My screen did that dim thing again. That's new, it hasn't been doing that. Man, that's gonna be such a better seal. How's that look on there for y'all? And like I said, once I'm done with this whole build, I'm gonna walk a camera around, show you guys up close at the end of the video. But what makes this such a good seal is you get these backing plates. And these backing plates go behind your plastic on the kayak, and they sandwich that kayak in between the backing plate and that big old thick seal that we just stuck on the front. And then we just tighten it down, and it should seal it up perfect. Stop tracking me. I didn't hold up no sign for you. So now I'm just gonna get these backing plates installed, tighten up all of these bolts, and then we'll move on to mounting the jake plates. Y'all don't wanna sit here and watch me tighten up nuts and bolts, do you? Let's hop over to the jake plate stuff. All right, the rod tube deletes are on, and I did do one extra thing, because when you tighten the plates together, it wants to squish out that seal and that gasket that we put in, and it sticks out just a little bit around the top. So me being me, I took a razor blade and I just kind of floated it around the edge of the delete plate and kind of just trimmed off that excess gasket that stuck out. First, you know, I made sure that every bolt was tightened equally. I kind of tightened it in a cross pattern, got it to really pull up against the kayak. There's no water getting in around these plates. They are rock solid. So now let's get the jake plates installed. And now's when the kayak's gonna start really changing the way it looks, I think. Let's go ahead and do this side while we're over here. Is this it? This is it. And I believe this is gunmetal gray, and it's gonna match our crossbar pretty good. Can y'all see that? Let me stop the panning. Come over here. Let's get you right there. So they got that gunmetal gray look on both of those. And then you got your hardware that comes with it. So let's stick this in place. So So you got your bolt that goes through your H rail. I got some tension on this thing because I got stuff clamped to it back there. Where's my Phillips head? I'm gonna get this started. I'm not gonna tighten it, but I am gonna get it started so we can kind of use it to line everything else up. Then you got 2 countersinking Phillips heads up here, and all of these holes are drilled and tapered, so they're all countersunk. So once we tighten this up, everything should sit nice and flush. Nothing's gonna protrude from the top of the mount here. All right, let me loosen these back up. Try to get all of my stuff started first. Get that where that needs to be. Quick tip for those of you who are just getting into this kayak rigging stuff, when you're mounting stuff to your kayaks, I'm sure those of you that's been doing this forever know what I'm fixing to say. When you're putting a screw back into a screw hole in your plastic, so these pointy screws that go alongside this little channel, this track right here, I'm gonna be ringing old holes, and good rule of thumb and a good tip is go backwards with your screw before you go forwards with it. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm gonna drop it in right here, and instead of me just immediately start turning to the right and making new threads, if you go backwards just a little bit, you'll feel it drop. And what you're doing is you're realigning these screw threads with the threads that are already there. If you just start dropping them in and you just immediately start zipping them down, you're gonna create new threads when there were already threads there. And basically you're just drilling a hole into your boat at that point. So go back, like I just turned that one backwards, and I felt the screw drop down into the hole. So now I know if I go forward, I can start screwing it down. And I'm not gonna torque these down because they are just in the plastic. I'm gonna get it down to where it snugs up, and then I'm done. We'll get the rest of these in, and we'll get that other Jake plate bolted on. I'll come over here and do this side. I forgot to show you, I did wipe that side down before I started. I got them both wiped down pretty good with some acetone. I'm just gonna repeat the process on this side. Man, this looks really good. I didn't know how I was gonna like this gunmetal look, but it matches the H. Man, those Jake plates look good. All right, so now we're gonna put on our crossbar, which is gonna sit across here just like this. And you remember me telling you earlier that they have these adapters that they designed, and they're like a little three-piece adapter. You got basically 4 pieces if you count the screw, but you got your bolt, you got your top piece, you got an insert that slides in between them, and then you got a bottom piece. And the way this works is you drop your little spacer in your bottom piece, just like that. And they've got a full detailed video on their YouTube channel. It'll be linked below. If this one, like if you buy this and my video don't help you, his is really detailed, so check that one out. But you take your bottom piece, you drop in your insert, and I'm gonna slide it up through this hole in the Jake plate. So why can't I talk? Jake plate, the Jake plate. So you got a hole here and a hole here, and they also got one down here. So I'm assuming they set this up so if you wanted the grafts closer to you, you could run them closer to you. But I do believe if you put them way up here, that if you do run your foot pedals, which I don't use my Mirage Drive at all. So, but I'm still gonna go back here because I like having my space up front to fish. Anyway, I'm gonna drop that in, then I'm gonna drop the top one on, and they're all tapered. The bottom one's tapered and the top one's tapered, and we're gonna spin them until they marry up just right, and it looks like I got the one for that side. And I think they are side specific, so when you get them, if it don't look like it's lining up right or it looks off, you might be installing the wrong one like I just did. So let's start that over. Got your bottom piece, your little spacer that drops in the middle. We're gonna set that there. I say they're specific. Heck, they might be the same. I just don't know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm gonna do this and hold my hand right there. Set that across there. I'm gonna drop the bolts down. And I'm just gonna get it started. I'm not gonna tighten anything up yet. There we go, got that one started. Same thing over here. And if you're wondering which one's the bottom and which one's the top, the bottom one is threaded. So this one's threaded. Started tracking me again, didn't it? Stop. So the bottom one is threaded. It's gonna go in there. Your spacer drops inside of it. And then your top one. And I might have been wrong. They might be, you know, you might be able to use them on both sides. But it didn't look right. All right, just got them started, that's it. Now I got me an Allen wrench. Now I'm just gonna fine tune them, make sure everything sits flush, and then once it's all where it needs to be, I'm gonna tighten it down. It looks about even to me. Everything looks straight, and look how, this is actually low profile. Let me shut my lid, see how it's gonna look. Oh yeah, that even sets below my lid. So my graphs aren't gonna be as high as they were, or well, I guess depending on how I mount them to this. Now I'm just gonna kind of snug them up. That should do it. Now, this is all one piece with the kayak now, holy cow. That is solid as a rock. I'm just gonna have to do some digging and figure out how I'm gonna be mounting my graphs here. I'll probably just use these back 2 bolts and use something like this here. So the way you would do it is like this T-Track, this Yakattack mount, it's gonna slide in there, and then once I get this Hobie stuff off here, this should slide through there, and then I'll be able to put a nut right there. I'll be able to get my graphs side by side, and I don't think there's gonna be any wobble in this. This is gonna be awesome. I will have to figure out where I'm gonna put my camera, but you know, the only reason I didn't have my camera mount on this track was because there was so much flex right here. I didn't want the camera bouncing, so I opted to put it on this rail, but we'll see. We'll see, I'll figure that out. That's gonna be a future TJ problem. Today, I just wanna get all this Ketch stuff installed so I can rig up and get ready for some wintertime fishing. I'm gonna be taking the rooftop tent out, hopefully to Gunnersville within the next week. What week is this? No, it's actually gonna be after Christmas. So we got about 2 more weeks, and I'm gonna be doing a kayak camping trip in the winter, in the cold, in my rooftop tent using that diesel heater over there. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I'm gonna do some cool stuff very soon, and I try to be detailed with these installs. And speaking of that, if you like these longer videos, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me grow the channel. I really appreciate all the support. Y'all have been killing it here lately. And those of you who have been liking the longer videos, you've been letting me know in the comments, and I really appreciate that too. So I'm gonna continue doing them for you guys. You seem to like these more detailed stuff where I kind of talk through everything that I'm doing, the whys and the hows. So I'm glad y'all are liking it. I really appreciate all the support. But anyway, got that mounted. And I hate that I keep sniffing into the mic. I got stuffy. Man, I like that a lot. Aluminum, aluminum, aluminum. Even the mountain point here is now aluminum. That is freaking awesome, guys. Whew. All right, we're going to move on up to the front because I think the steering handle is going to be simple. I'll probably put that on and just show it to you after I figure out which side I'm going to swap it on. But now I want to get this motor mount installed now that we got this here, before I move on to running wires and trying to figure out how I'm gonna mount graphs and stuff like that. Let's get this bad boy off. So to install or uninstall these front mounting plates on these Hobies, you use a 1/4 inch Allen head Allen head wrench, whatever you want to call this thing. This is a T-handle. And then you can take these bolts out that hold the handle on, which holds the front mount on. Let me go ahead and get these Phillips heads out too. And then you also got these Phillips heads. Now, it'll be the same process even if you're not taking off another mount like I'm doing. Like if you're just taking this off to install the Ketch board or the Ketch mount, it's gonna be kind of the same process we're doing now. You just won't have to pull off this old mount. You got 2 Phillips heads right there. And I've got 2 bolts in the front. And there she is. Now this is, I wanna say 1 objective. I think that's what this is. Maybe 1 objective mount. I don't know, it's been a good mount, but it's definitely, you've seen it at the beginning. I'm not gonna go over it again. It definitely has, it adds some flex to the front end. And it being that straight up 90 degrees, we're gonna fix the angle, get this bad boy right. And this Ketch is so much more low profile too. I just hope that I'm not gonna have to re-drill a spot for my pull cord. See this cable right here, I think y'all can see that. This is what hooks to my Xi3 foot pedal. You would originally push that foot pedal down if it was mounted on a regular bass boat to deploy your motor. Since I can't walk up here and do that, I've got this cord right here attached to the foot pedal, and then I've got my old seat raise and lower cord back here by my seat. I pull it and it pulls my foot pedal down. Hence, I mean, then it deploys the motor. All right. And I almost wonder if I should go ahead and mount the mounting plate. I think so. The quick detach is what I'm trying to say. So I probably want to go ahead and mount my quick detach to this plate before I mount the plate to the kayak, if that makes sense. So what we'll do first is we'll get that done. But I'll go ahead and put this front Ketch piece together. Because remember, like I said earlier, this sits like this, and you can tell which is top and which is bottom because Ketch likes to countersink all of their screws. See, if I can get it off my face. See how those are countersunk? And then this side is not countersunk, so you know that the countersunk is gonna be on the top. So that's where you're gonna mount down, and it's gonna be just like this. The same thing with this. This only goes on one way, like I mentioned earlier. I'm pretty sure the Ketch logo goes out. And it's gonna put it at a slight angle, yeah. And this is definitely gonna fit perfect right there. And it is so much more low profile. I like that a lot. All right, let me get this put together and then we'll put our quick detach on. So once you assemble that, and it's gonna be really hard to see on camera, but there is a slight angle. Let's see if I can line this up for you. So this plate here is gonna be kicked out just a hair. I mean, it is a slight angle, but it's there. And we know it's there because in their video, if you watch their install video, he goes over how they were able to find out that all of the pro anglers had that slight issue up and that slight 6 degree over. So they designed this. It is gonna set your trolling motor dead center on every PA that you install it on. And I'm assuming they did the same, thorough investigation with all the other brands like the Bonafides and the Natives, if they're making plates for them. They did the same thing. But before we mount this up, this is where it's gonna mount. We're gonna go ahead and put the quick detach plate on here because it'll be a lot easier to do because I think all of the screws are countersunk from the bottom, so you would have to do it anyway. And I like how there's locks on these. I was concerned about that whenever I first looked at these because I haul my kayak on the trailer with my trolling motor on here, just like it's a bass boat. And with the other setup, whenever I would push this in, and it's got that little clip on the trolling motor side, it would clip in and I would put a zip tie around that. Just to give me that extra peace of mind that I'm going down the highway at 70 miles an hour. I'm not gonna bounce my trolling motor accidentally off of the front of my kayak. And I was concerned because I didn't see that kind of pin style system on the Ketch's setup. And then I realized that these latches have a safety lock. So once it's on there, you can't take it off. I guess I can show you a little bit right here. So here's this, you can't push that off until you push this button. You push that button and pull at the same time. But once it goes down and clicks, you can't, it's not gonna pull off that way. So it's a good peace of mind for me because I was really concerned about not being able to lock it onto my kayak, you know, really worried that hitting a bump or some of these back roads here in Alabama, it's nothing but potholes, you know, for 2 miles straight. And I didn't want to lose one of these guys. So anyway, that was good. That was good that I seen that. All right, I had myself all confused just now about this. So I was wrong. You can just mount this plate straight up because you don't have to put nuts on the back side of this. My whole thought process just now was I got to be able to get to the underside of this plate so that I can tighten up this mount on here. But I wasn't thinking, Ketch actually tapped all of these holes on here. So you can actually go ahead and mount this on here, and then you can mount your You can mount your quick detach on here, and it's got countersunk holes right here on the top where it actually screws straight down and locks into the mount itself. You don't have to add any nuts, no washers, anything like that. It just bolts straight down, that is freaking awesome, man. Those guys are geniuses up at Ketch. All right, sorry, I just moved the camera. I didn't realize y'all couldn't really see from where y'all were at. So anyway, well, like I was saying, now that I know that I don't have to get up under this, because the other mounts, you have to be able to get up under them to put a nut on. They threaded this plate, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're gonna go ahead and mount the plate, and then we'll put the quick release on after we get the plate mounted. And it goes on pretty simple. You got your regular screws right here, and they provide an extra set so you don't have to reuse your old ones. But you're gonna get them through the plate first and then through your webbing. And on these Hobies, this webbing right here that you see is nothing more than just regular black webbing, and it's mainly just to hinge open your lid. And it won't go straight into the kayak after that. You got these spacers, and these spacers go on. It can be a little tricky. So we're gonna set the spacers right above the holes, and then we're gonna line up our screws in the spacers. Right now I'm not threading anything except for the webbing, trying to get it to run down a little bit. Now I'm gonna try to hit the same holes, which should line right up. You don't want to make new holes. And again, with these, go backwards until you feel it drop, and then go forward. And I'm just starting them. So I'm gonna go back. There it dropped, now forward. We're just gonna snug it. Same thing over here. I think I've already hit that one right there. Now they're just snug because the second step is crucial, and this is the part that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that they were able to fix that 6-degree offset. So if I was to just bolt this straight up right now, you know, you take your handle, then you got your 2 front bolts, they go through the front here. If I was to do that without using their shim that they provide for one side, and I made my camera jump up on me, didn't I? It would still keep it at that angle, that slight angle. So this goes on the port side, and it's just a little shim, and it goes in between the plate and the kayak. So you're gonna take your bolts, and the ones I have, I think, are the same size as the ones they sent. Yeah, so I can just use these again. So I'm gonna take my bolts, go ahead and start them in the handle, like this. Let me get the T-handle, be a little bit quicker. And now, you want it going far enough where you're gonna be able to go through that and through the spacer. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide my handle on here. Now I want you to track it. There we go, stop right there. So now my handle goes through here, and then I'm gonna slide that spacer over here on the port side in between, after I drop it probably 10 times. We're gonna go through here and line it up. Oh, there's number 2. I got 8 more times to drop it. Get that started. Just like that. Now I'm gonna pull them in evenly on both sides at the same time. That scared me for a minute there. I thought I had it cross-threaded. You definitely do not want to cross-thread these inserts. Come on, pick back up. I don't need you filming my feet the whole time. You definitely don't want to cross-thread these brass inserts, so just go nice and easy. Do not use an impact on these. Why is that one bottoming out? Is it longer? I think it is longer. Well, I thought I just ran into another problem, but it was my own mistake again. So, and I'll tell y'all what I just did. So if it happens to you, you know why. So I was just gonna go ahead and run the same screws, you know, my handle bolts back in that I had, because I grabbed them and they were the exact same length, right? So if they're the same length, you know, why, you know, not use them? And I was putting it back together, and then this side, the one without the spacer, kept bottoming out. And I didn't know why it was bottoming out, because it seemed like the screw was too long. So I'd bottom out and I'd come back out and it'd still be loose. Well, I was using the bolts because they matched up to that one that I grabbed, not realizing that those were already longer than they should be, because I took off that other mount. That other mount, let me grab it. So this mount that I took off, you see how thick this is? Let me show you, see that? So this, whenever I remember now too, whenever I first mounted this up on my Hobie, that it came with these longer bolts, and it was all my fault. Anyway, all that being said, they tightened up now. I've got, and that spacer's in between the plate. Now you gotta make sure you put that spacer in between the kayak and the plate. If you put it in between the plate and the handle, you're doing nothing. You're not tilting the plate. The whole idea is to make sure this plate is kicked out to the right. So it is on there and locked down. Let me lock this side down. She's tight. I don't want to over tighten it, because you dang sure don't want to mess up those brass inserts on your kayak. And that's what had me worried too, because I kept bottoming out, and I'd go a little bit tighter, and I knew that if I kept it up, I was fixing to spin those inserts. And then that's a whole new thing that we'd have to deal with. And now once that's done, I'm just locking down these screws in the back. Snug them down, and there she is. That fixes my angle. So now my motor is not gonna be, how was it before, tilted down too far or up too far? Anyway, now this is fixed that angle, and it's fixed my 6-degree offset angle. Now we can mount, if I don't lose all my bolts up here, now we can go ahead and mount our quick detach kit on here. And then after that, all I gotta do is mount this one on the bottom of my trolling motor, and we can slap that bad boy back on here. And everything is gonna clear just fine. There's my release that I was worried about not clearing. It's actually got more room now, or it will. Let's see, this goes here. Then it's just got a bunch of, looks like they're all the same size, so you can't really mess this up. I say that and then I'll mess it up. But they just drop in. They're all countersunk to where they need to be. Well, they give you plenty of mountain spots right here. Look at that. There's 4 mountain spots. Let me grab my Allen head. I will say this, they definitely used a plethora of different sizes of Allen heads. Did I use that word right? I think I did. I'm trying to use a big word. And sometimes I use a big word and it just shouldn't have been used, it's not there. But anyway, they used a whole bunch of different sizes. I think I've used probably five different Allen size heads. But I mean, that's amongst everything. That's not just for this plate. That's for the Jake plates, the delete, and all of that. So now I'm just gonna tighten this up. And as you can see, there's still threaded holes on this plate, and that's if you weren't gonna use the quick release. Like if you were just gonna mount it straight there, not use the quick release system, which I could do that because I don't take mine off. But I'm gonna put the quick release on there because there will be a time that I need to take it off. Like certain tournaments you're gonna get into, you can't run dual motors like I run. I got the bow mount on the front and the NK300 in the back. So there's gonna be certain, tournaments that I get in where I'm gonna want a quick release up here on the front to pop this thing off. That one's tight. That one's tight. There we go. She is on there. Now we're just gonna mount our base plate to the bottom of my Xi3, but first I gotta take the motor guide quick detach plate off. Let me grab it. See if I can fit it up here on the bench with everything else. Flip it over. All right, so that should do it. So off with the motor guide. I don't know where I put that other piece. I have to round it up in a minute. And on with the new Ketch. And again, with this piece, the right side, the side that you're gonna need facing up when the thing's upside down, the holes are gonna be countersunk. So your Allen heads are gonna disappear into the top of it. It's gonna sit completely flat. So you can't really mess this up either, because if you flip it over, they're gonna stick up on the top like that, and your motor, it won't set down on your kayak. So you can't really mess it up. Also, there's several holes on this thing cut. You're not gonna use every one of them because they built this to be kind of universal. The Xi5 and the Xi3, the base plates are just a little bit different, but you've got plenty of mounting spots. As you can see, all these little grooves here are different places to mount. I wish I'd have paid attention to see, I've got a little dirt line here, so I knew where my last mount was. So it was right in there. And now I'm just gonna drop some of these Allen heads into place and make sure everything's gonna line up where it's supposed to go, or where I need it to, because there's certain places, none on this side, but over here there's like levers that the bolt would be in the way if I use that hole, so I'm gonna use that hole and that hole, and that one, and that one. And that should be perfect. Then they come with, I'm not sure when there's lock washers and nylon nuts, but you got nylon nuts and lock washers. So it's definitely not gonna come off. We double locking this bad boy. All right, tightening down the last one right there. Now she is locked on. Now I know I keep referencing the Xi5 and the Xi3, but I'm pretty sure that this mount also works with Minn Kota motors. So if you've got a Minn Kota, just check the website, but I'm pretty sure that this quick detach and that front mount is set up for Motor Guide or Minn Kota. But now we got her on there. Let's go slide it on and see how well this dovetail system works versus that kind of drop on and go system. All right, y'all should be able to see right there. So all I did was, the two dovetails are gonna slide together instead of dropping on like the other one did. I'm gonna slide it forward, push it. Oh yeah, that's just by pushing it without using the latches, I can feel it tightening in. And now we're gonna pull these latches, and it is locked on. Holy cow. Yeah, there's no flex now, look. I can pick up the whole kayak. Do y'all see any flex in that? Oh man, I like that. And it's a lot lower. And I know y'all aren't gonna be able to tell, but I'm used to seeing the motor sitting up higher. It's a lot lower, like more flush down to my front hatch here. That's kind of cool. Let me put the side plates on that I forgot to put on. Got that one locked on. Get my plug back over here, because it's gonna be plugged up there. Put my foot pedal release on. Is it still good to go? Y'all watch right there, and I'm gonna pull on it back here. Right here. Oh yeah, that's still good. I didn't figure that little bit of height difference was gonna make it too slack right there. Matter of fact, let's drop her down. Man, I love that plate, man. I can definitely, I don't know if y'all can, but I can definitely see a difference just by picking this up. Like, there's no flex. Now, let's get the rest of this stuff installed. I'm happy so far. The Jake plates, the rod tube deletes, the crossbar, and the front motor mount with the quick detach. All of this has been super nice so far. And I'm loving the sleek look of it too. But I mean, if you're one of the guys that likes a lot of colors, those anodized colors, if you got like an orange kayak and you want to do orange mounts, red, blue, whatever, they've got it for you. But I'm really digging the gunmetal gray. It kind of, it's real nice and soft with the kayak. I really like the gray colors. Speaking of that, I've got a new video going to be coming soon. For those of you that are watching, if you're interested, I'm fixing to do a full wrap on this kayak. I wrapped my old banana boat, the PA-12, a couple of years ago, and I haven't wrapped a kayak since, but I ordered me a custom wrap. It's actually supposed to be here today, and I'm going to film that video pretty soon, but I designed the wrap pretty cool. I designed it to match my Tacoma, so it's going to be pretty cool. That's all I'm going to say about it, but if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed, because when that video goes live, you're definitely want to go see it. We're going to do a full DIY kayak wrap install right here in the garage. Get this thing matching the truck pretty good. All right, let's move on to the H-rail stuff. All we got left to do now is mount my steering handle, which should be pretty straightforward, and then the side plate for my NK300 drive, if that's what I end up using it for. We're gonna go back there and try it out real quick. All right, guys, good morning. Yes, it is the next morning. Let me get y'all to stop following me around the room. So when I paused the camera last night, or yesterday afternoon actually, when I stopped filming, I was gonna clean up everything really quick and then hop into the steering handle and knob install, and then the H-rail mount plate that we installed for the NK300 throttle. And I quickly seen that I wasn't gonna be able to use that Ketch steering handle that I really wanted with my Tim Percy setup, because I've got a whole new setup over there, and I'm gonna show you in just a minute, for steering the motor at the same time that I steer the rudder, and the knob wasn't gonna work. And that was just unacceptable for me. So off camera yesterday, well into last night, I think I stayed out here till like 10 o'clock last night, fabricating a way for me to include that Ketch steering handle and knob on top of my Tim Percy setup, and now it is perfect. I freaking love it. And I went ahead and mounted that NK300. I got my graphs installed. I really love how sleek this looks. It's a lot more low profile, and it's even just a little bit further away from me. So I actually got a little bit more space at my feet. But anyway, I'm gonna grab the camera, walk you guys through everything I did. I actually added some stuff to the back of the boat too, and I love how this thing turned out. Y'all tell me what you think. All right, so I'm not gonna hit on the front too much because you all just seen me mount this up in the video. Everything locks in good. I will mention again that I love how these lock into place, and you have to push that safety lock and pull up at the same time. So I feel really good that that's never gonna come off unless I want it to come off. And then right here, you can see how I was able to kind of clean up my wires. I mounted everything. I used the mounts, and then I used these Yakattack mounts. I knew I had a bunch of them somewhere in a drawer, but I was able to mount them directly to the T-Track, and look how good it looks from this end. I absolutely love it. Over here, I put, let's see if I can show you. So here are my Jake plates you guys just seen me install. I put my camera mount on the Jake plate because this is now solid. This ain't a flexible, flopping, I can't talk this morning. It's not a flopping plastic piece anymore. This is aluminum. Now my camera should be nice and sturdy. You're always still gonna have that little bit of bounce at the end whenever you extend poles out off the back of your boat. But we were able to delete what we were able to delete, kind of control what we could control. I can't talk at all this morning, guys. My plates are on there really good. As you can see, everything's nice and clean. I love how I was able to, let's see if I can show you, see how my graphs are slightly tilted up, and that is perfect for me. So I sit, you know, my head's right in this area here, and it is perfect for me to stand and sit without having to readjust them, because I stand a lot when I fish, especially if I'm not filming and if I'm just hanging out on the water. I stand up 90% of the time I'm fishing out on the water. Let's see, I'll go ahead and show you the other side really quick. What you didn't get to see me install because I was out here trying to figure it out late. So here is that Ketch flat mount that we put on. It's gonna be hard to show you. There you go. And what I did was I just drilled me some holes in the plate, and I bolted my NK300 throttle down to it, and it is locked on. It is not gonna come off. I've got 2 bolts into the plate, into the mount of the bottom of this NK300 throttle, and it is perfect. But check out my steering handle. Look at this. I got a big old steering knob. Let me see if I got better light on this side. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I had to do a little bit of fabricating. I put this spacer up under this. I had to get a longer bolt and cut one down, and then I had to make it so that this didn't spin on top of this, because this is what controls my motor. This is how I turn my motor, and I can turn it just like this, nice and smooth. I absolutely love it, man. That turned out so good. And everything is like right where it needs to be. So this is for my NK300 for the bow of the boat. This is for my Xi3 of the bow, my NK300, my steering for the rudder, and the rear of the boat. And I'll show you I did add one thing. As you can see, I didn't add a whole lot of these tracks because I got plans for these tracks. You guys are gonna see them a lot in upcoming videos, but I did put one on my boat. And I've been meaning to do this for a while. So my flag, and I've got it on here to show you if I can back up. See my Yakattack flag? When I fish, especially during the winter, it gets dark really quick, and I usually have to stick this in one of my, if I don't take my lights out, in one of my rod tubes like this once it gets dark, and it kind of makes me have to take up one of my rod slots, and I don't like doing that. Plus right there, it's in the way for casting. So I've been meaning to add a way to stick it on the back of my boat and just leave it there all day. So I mounted me this little bitty Ketch Exact Track right here. And it's perfect for that, because now I can just grab it. If I don't take my light out, see if I can do this with one hand, guys. Slide it in there. You can't even see what I just did. I slid it in there, and I locked it down, and now my flag is at the very end of my boat, out of the way of me casting. I've got my rod storage available here behind me, and I'm loving this setup. These Ketch products, not to mention how well they look. Look at that. That gunmetal just matches these H-rails so well. Like this and this. On camera, actually it looks a little bit different on camera, but in person, it's almost an exact match. I love that. So all of this Ketch stuff that you've seen me use in this week's video, I will have links to in the video description, and I think I've got a promo code from Ketch that I can share with you guys. If I do, it's gonna be right beside the link. So if you use the link, use the promo code, you can save you some money when you buy their Ketch products, and they're adding new stuff all the time. So always go back there and check. And if you've seen anything else in this video that you're like, I wonder where he got that, or how did he do that, or what is that? Always check the links in my videos. Right up under this video, if you hit see more at the end of the description, it'll pull up a full list of all of my sponsored products that I've worked with companies throughout the years, and they give me promo codes. I put everything down there, and you can always click my Linktree app link in the video description below. If you click that, that will actually pull up a Linktree account that belongs to Kayak USA. It's my account. And right in that area, you can scroll it and you can see every partnership, every fishing company that I've worked with, kayak company, camping company. And if I've got coupon codes for their products, you can just click it and use that coupon code right there. If you find something you like in a video, I'm just like you guys. When I'm gonna buy something, I research it on YouTube, I find somebody who talks about it, and if that YouTuber's got a promo code, I'm definitely gonna use it. So always check below my videos for these coupon codes, guys. They can help you save a lot of money, I promise, especially if you're gonna, do a big rig up this winter on your kayak and you plan on buying a lot of stuff. Use those codes, it'll help you out in the long run. But yeah, this is my new setup, guys. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me and watching the videos as I do this. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. If you're new, subscribe. I upload every Monday at 6 o'clock. New stuff every week. We're either doing kayak builds or trailer builds or camping trips, all kind of cool stuff. So y'all join the fun. If you want to support the channel, click that join button right up under the video. You can become a member of the Yak Squad. We got a great group of followers there for the channel. I really appreciate all y'all support, and I will catch y'all next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace.